With the winter of anime coming to a close, many great series will be missed as they are coming to an end. I hope that almost all of them get a sequel since this season of anime has been the best and had top-notch series that has really rekindled my love for anime. So one of those series that had me glued to the screen was Mushoku Tensei, as it gave off a vibe of a story that had great potential if done right. So the series is taking a break after the conclusion of episode 11 and will continue with the second core of the season when it comes back after 3 months. So let us look back at what the series has provided to us, and I will provide my thoughts on the overall season and hopefully encourage anyone to pick up the series. Alright, so I want to highlight Rudius's growth from the moment he was born up to now. See, as we all know, Rudius was a 34-year-old who had a warped perception of the world because of his trauma of being the victim of bullying. This scarred him so much to the point where he no longer tries to have a regular social life, but instead hides himself in his room with only his visual novels and anime games that keep him entertained. This unhealthy behavior led to him disregarding even his family, as we see him not even caring to attend what seems like to be his parents' funeral. This of course angered his siblings, which led to his siblings literally kicking him out of the house. And if you didn't know, Rudius actually has 5 siblings, with him being the 4th. However, despite being a failure in life, even though when he was kicked out of the house, when he sees 3 high schoolers almost getting hit by a truck, he still saved them despite caring about himself. And despite being on the brink of death, he was only thinking about whether he managed to save those students. This shows a glimpse of his true nature, and that despite all his flaws, Rudius still has a good heart, but was tainted because of the bullying he had gotten and also being a shut-in for most of his time, and shows he could have been someone much better than he is now. After reincarnating, Rudius starts to change. It was mentioned that Rudius used to be smart in school. This, together with being a child, is why Rudius is able to very easily learn how to read and speak different languages, and even master magic at such a young age. Rudius starts to care more about the people around him and his relationships with them, and starts to realize that this new world, despite having magic and mystical aspects to it, is nothing like the manga and anime that he always watched, just like what happened with Aries in the room. Speaking about Aries, we actually see a drastic change in personality and how she treats Rudius as she starts to appreciate his help. Her growth really starts when Rudius saves her from her kidnappers. After this moment, we see her slowly change and eventually trusts and respects Rudius much more, and I'm looking forward to see how much she changes as the story continues. Another person I want to talk about is Sylphie. Sylphie was Rudius's first friend in this new world, and the whole reason why Rudius ended up working as Aris's teacher was because he wanted to earn enough money to be able to go to school with Sylphie. But after everything that happened with the Mana Calamity and Rudius getting transported to the demon region, we might not get a chance to see Sylphie in a very long time. This also goes for Rudius's family. At this point of the story, Rudius is still young and has a lot to work on, and is still oblivious of the dangers in the outside world, and he sometimes even wrongly assesses the situation, which leads to things going wrong, especially when he underestimates the monsters in the forest, which leads to one of the adventurers being killed. However, I believe the reason he read the situation wrongly was because Ares and Ruijat was so skilled in sword fighting that I believe this led to him thinking that everyone else should be around that skill level too. And we even see Ares able to deal with the snake monster easily by her own. So this actually may be something that affected Rudius's line of thinking and perception. However, this mistake leads him to realize that he is not someone who is always right, and that he can't carry the weight of making decisions alone. One thing I really like about episode 11 was that it shows that despite being on the same side, the other characters like Ruijat, are not characters who follow Rudius blindly, but instead have their own thinking and beliefs. And the part where Ruijert reveals himself as a spurt, so that Rudius doesn't have to kill that horseman, was done nicely, and tells us that Ruijert cares more about Rudius than his own reputation as a spurt. Doing this also makes Ruijert understand how much people still fear the spurts, which leads to him going bald, to ensure that they will have an easier journey without having to always be careful in different towns and cities. In episode 11, we also get to see Roxy trying to find Rudius and heading out, and she sees a letter written by Paul stating that Zenith, Lilia, and Aisha are missing, with Paul having to take care of Non, and that he is going to look for them. One thing I really like about this letter is that it shows how much Paul really trusts Rudius, despite Rudius still being a child in the world. So Paul writes in the letter that Rudius should go to the north of the central continent to find and search for his missing family. This shows that Paul trusts that Rudius can get back home on his own, and after reading the letter, is able to journey to the north. However, he didn't mention anything about whether or not Sylphie is still alive and safe, or whether she somehow didn't survive or disappeared. But I'm sure she's still alive, because there's no way they're going to kill off such an amazing and important character off screen. Also, this letter gives us a clue as to where Roxy might be going, because since she's probably trying to find Rudius, then she's most probably going to where the letter is said, which is the north of the central continent, because she doesn't know where Rudius would be, and she doesn't know if Rudius had already read the letter or not. So the best option is to go to where the letter says he might go. Roxy is also joined by two other people who looks like a dwarf and an elf on a boat, which is similar to the trailer scene, as they are heading to some other town in another land. However, this town that they are shown heading to is near to the sea, which is similar to where we see Rudius heading to, as he and the others are overlooking a town which is also near the sea. Or this could also mean that Roxy is somehow able to track Rudius over long distances, because I don't think that the demon region is at the north of the central continent, because I think that the central continent is its own region and the demon region is its own place. So I don't think that the demon region is within the central continent. So I think that it's either Roxy is able to track Rudius, or this is just a coincidence and actually that is the central continent, the north, and that is the north of the central continent. This could also mean that they might meet each other very soon, but we can only know if this is the case when the next episode drops after 3 months. The wait for the second call will be hard and long, which is really tempting me to start reading either the manga or the web novel, so that I can continue on the story. I love how the series starts off mainly focusing on the characters and having a more grounded story, before they introduced a more serious and bigger plot to the story, which feels like it hasn't even scratched the surface of what the story has in store and that is to come. I think that doing this really makes us, the viewers, attached to the characters and the relationships that they have with the other characters, and makes us look forward to how they progress and grow throughout the story. Like how with Rudius and his relationship with Sylphie and Lilia and Roxy and Ares, the way they interact with each other really makes us feel that that connection is genuine and unique, and the way they get to know each other is actually really natural and it's not something that just happens overnight. And the way the series uses the different languages and don't just use Japanese when Rudius talks with the other demons really makes the world feel believable, like something from the Lord of the Rings with all its different languages. This means that the voice actor have had to actually learn the fictional language. This just goes to show the love and the passion that they have for the series. And I'm really looking forward to what the series has in store. And with that, I hope you enjoyed me talking about Mushoku Tensei and what the story has so far. If you want to see more videos like this, please hit the like button and comment down below, because I feel like I want to make more of this type of videos, like about ReZero, about Dr. Stone, about most of the series that has come out this season and will come out in the future seasons. So to keep up with my channel, please hit the subscribe button and the bell icon. And with that, I bid you farewell, men of the West.